Alrighty, welcome to the Chalk Talk Social. It is Friday, June 5th, and Joey is back. Haven't seen him on cam in feels like years at this point, Joey. You left us. You bailed on us, but glad to see you back. You've still been doing some stuff in the background, which we always appreciate it. But how you doing, man? What's been going on in your life? Been busy.
Schools, it is chaos time for all the sports for the kids, so it's been a blast. Just been busy and excited to be back with you. I know we're talking excuse me, about my Cubs later, but my sad fact is when I was out a few Thursdays ago, it was because we had the Chicago Public Schools baseball championship at Wrigley, which was amazing. Shout out to Taft High School. They haven't won since the 60s. They're the last team to win at Wrigley because the Cubs haven't won since Taft won. They've lost 8 in a row at home. They're now losing as we record, thanks to PCA's whiff in the outfield, letting up an inside the park home run. So it is doomsday here in Chicago for baseball. But it's nice to be back talking with you and figuring out this whole crazy world of sports we live in.
Yeah, man. The Cubs fall off is one for the record books. Y'all were on top of the world. This crazy win streak. You're like, oh my god, the Cubs are legit. They don't even have starting pitching. And then before you know it, you look at the standings now, and they're about to be last place of a really tough NL Central, but nonetheless last place. And yeah, that PCA thing. He never saw the ball off the bat. He's just standing there looking for it the whole time, and it lands 10 feet behind him. I didn't know it was an inside the park till you said that. That seems
good.
like
everything's fine. It's that meme. Everything's fine with the dog and the fire in the background.
Yep, everything's burning around us. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, the Cubs season is crashing and burning. But I love to see him dancing in the locker room after they got like one win the other day.
Hell yeah!
I was like, you guys realize that's like when you like hit a home run and you trot around the bases like all big ego and you're still down by 10 points. It gave that type of vibe. I was like, all right, man, let's you shouldn't be celebrating too much right now. You guys are in serious suck mode. But Joey, I don't know if you saw. I think you said you saw, but we've been doing some of this showing off the card collection a little bit more because I feel bad that they're just sitting here collecting dust, and there's some absolute beauts that deserve a little bit more recognition. And
Absolutely.
Today we'll get into it more. I think it'll be our first topic in our kind of news as E-Man's not on the recording today. So, but the card I wanted to show you today in honor of his retirement. Russell Wilson. This one we got right here. 49 of these ever put into production.
Wow.
Signed by Russell Wilson himself. It is a rookie card as well. Panini 2012. Just an absolute nice card right here, man. Want to show it off. Wisconsin Badger. Obviously Seahawks legend and, not a legend for any other teams, unfortunately, but, one of the best in terms of all-time career passer ratings, one of the best in terms of touchdown to interception ratio. Amazing, and I believe he was the only quarterback ever with 40,000 passing yards, 5,000 rushing yards as well. So, hell of a career for him. He joined CBS, so wanted to give him the shout-out on this super rare Russell Wilson card we got here, man. Congrats on the career, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love those kind of cards, and it's just my favorite memory, or at least meme memory right now, is just the constant draft day photo when he's with whoever his girlfriend was when he got drafted.
Oh, that's right.
And she's like, oh my God, I'm going to be set for life.
Yep.
Russell's my guy. And then she
Bye. Yeah, she's the one with the picture, like put her picture in cat and like, or she got her mouth wide open, like yelling. Yeah, dude. Yeah, especially for a third round pick, like hell of a career. Came in on the job in Seattle, took it away from Matt Flynn after they spent.
I was going to say, wasn't that the Matt Flynn?
It was
trade?
After they gave Matt Flynn. Yeah, they gave Matt Flynn a gajillion dollars after one 6 touchdown game against the Lions as a Packer, and they gave him $1 billion, and he sucked the rest of his career. Like once Russell Wilson took over, you never saw Matt Flynn ever again. So yeah, hell of a career. And maybe we should start there. Let's go straight into the news desk stuff today. I'll let you take it from here.
So, sticking with Wilson, the biggest question is 14 years, you mentioned some of the stats, you showed your beautiful card. Does he belong in Canton? Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback that will find himself with a bust in Canton, Ohio?
For me, I mean, I think ultimately, if I can get deeper into my argument here, I think yes, but I don't think he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's going to have to wait a bit, right? We all know his peak in Seattle was flat out incredible. You know, the 2012 rookie season, 100 passer rating as a rookie, one of the best ever recorded, 11 wins as a starter, went 26 touchdowns, 10 picks, led him to the playoffs in his first year. So an incredible thing. You know, 2013, they get to the Super Bowl at 13-3 and just absolutely destroyed Peyton Manning and the Broncos in that Super Bowl. And he had a great game, 123.1 passer rating. Obviously, they run it back in 2014, and we all know how that one ended with the goal line interception. That play should never have been called in the history of man when you got Marshawn Lynch in your backfield. So hard to break him on that. But yeah, man, his 2015 to 2020 stretch when we fully started to get immersed into the let Russell Wilson cook era, like he was incredible. He had 4 seasons with 4,000 passing yards. He had 4 seasons with at least 34 passing touchdowns. His 2019 season, second team All Pro, arguably could say it was the best of his career with 4,100 pass yards, 31 tutties, 5 picks, 106.9 passer rating. Didn't get MVP, lost it out to Lamar Jackson that year, but his fourth quarter passer rating was 101.2. So again, the stat I mentioned in terms of 40,000 yards and 5,000 rushing yards, the only quarterback, like that is him. He is the only quarterback with that number right now. So I think he's in the hall of very good quarterback who deserves serious Canton debate. Just he's not going to be first ballot for me. Again, an incredible 5-year stretch. He was in a system that was super run heavy that asked him to do less than, the other quarterbacks at the time. And then when they let him loose, man, he was a legitimate MVP candidate for all those years. The problem is the Denver stuff. For me, that clouds everything. It was, man, it got so corny too. Like the Subway commercials, the Broncos country, let's ride. It was all just like, it went so bad. They gave him a gajillion dollars. He ends up getting benched. The memes become let Sierra cook. Like it all got bad. The last 4 years of Russell Wilson on film and statistically are trash. It's not good. His peak was incredible, but the end he couldn't, we were talking about first ballot Hall of Famers. Generally speaking, from start to finish, it's impeccable, clean. Maybe they have 1 or 2 down years, but Russell Wilson, since he left Seattle, it was all bad. The recency bias, I think, is going to cost him. The fact that he never won an MVP either. To me, I'm saying he's top 18 to 20 quarterbacks of all time. Where are you thinking on this? Where are you kind of landing on that one?
That's a fascinating range because, how good he was. We grew up, you and I are similar in age, watching him play. But then you're like, is he in that tier? Or was he just really, really good on really, really good teams? Like, there's a difference between, Mahomes and Wilson, right? Like, when you think of all-time greats. And obviously, that's where this debate goes. But it's a really fascinating one because he, for me, how do I put this? I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying, in terms of outlook, because of his size, he falls into that Drew Brees category sometimes of where there are these undersized quarterbacks that had a make it or break it time in the NFL, got in the right system. Now, I'm saying they're not system quarterbacks, but they got with the right coach to help them propel to that potential, Hall of Fame level. And so I'd agree he's probably up there, and it might be recency bias, but when you look at the history and you go, okay, well, Joe Namath's a Hall of Famer, and he was average at best when you compare it to today, it's almost like the Hall of Fame gets a little too competitive now because we've had such great quarterback play. As much as everyone wants to bitch about there's not enough quarterbacks for each team and all these things, whether you're the Browns or the Bears for their history, what have you, but we've gotten some special talent, and it's hard sometimes to compartmentalize that to say, okay, you have a Mahomes, you have a Lamar Jackson, you have a Josh Allen, you have a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning, who are elite of the elite. But here's a guy in Russell Wilson that won as much as they didn't get the MVP, but won as much as they did, had
Mhm.
just as big of an impact on his teams, just maybe wasn't the elite athlete that some of those guys were in the quarterback room. So I agree with you. I think he gets in on the second time around, but he's definitely in there for what he did for Seattle, what he did for the game. And, I won't define him as oh my God, he's the first real mobile quarterback. Obviously Michael Vick and other guys are in there throughout history and what we see now, but he was kind of that transition guy where the league was really a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady style league. That's how you succeed.
Mhm.
And he was starting to bridge the way to where you see now the Caleb Williamses of the world, that really the Aaron Rodgers that really have shaped how we view a quarterback as not just a statue, but as an overall, athletic player.
I think that's a great way to put it. Like he was a big transition. Geez, sorry about that S that just came out of my mouth there. And that's wow. It's the gap in my tooth that gets those S's wild
Oh
sometimes.
man, gotta close that
Yeah,
up.
yeah, trust me, the braces did their job once. I stopped wearing my retainer. But yeah, being a transition quarterback like he was, that's a great way to put it. I mean, and it speaks for itself in terms of being fourth all time for quarterbacks in career rushing yards, obviously behind Vic, Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, but
Newton,
also
thank you. I forgot about
yeah,
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Ninth all time in game winning drives, 13th all time in regular season wins. He's got the 10-7 playoff record. One of the, like I said, fifth all time in career passer rating, second all time in touchdown to interception ratio. So again, and he's top 20 in career passing yards, top 15 in career passing touchdowns. And so ultimately, like when I look at Russell Wilson, he's better than Eli Manning. He's better than Jim Kelly statistically. He's more efficient than Ben Roethlisberger. And these are all guys who, we're having similar conversations about when they retired. He's less accomplished than the Montanas, the Bradys, Mahomes, the Rodgers, the Favres, the Mannings, the Elways, those guys, the Peyton Manning, sorry. But I mean, again, I think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. I just don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's got great numbers. He's got a lot. He just didn't have the complete full career. And the end was very bad. It got very bad. Like he literally got benched. So none of those other guys got benched. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Peyton Manning and Elway got benched as a rookie, a little different. But yeah, I mean, great player, Seahawks, legend. And yeah, we all know. I mean, there was debates like, is he a system quarterback? Is he a short king or like a check down king? It was like he had a great arm, one of the best deep passes, one of the prettiest deep balls you'll ever see. And yes, those defenses were impeccable in Seattle. But I think what you said about him being a bridge quarterback was exactly right. All right, what's next?
And I wonder too, sorry, I just want to look up real quick.
Oh, sure.
So I'd like, and you mentioned all these statistics and kind of recent memory. And what's fascinating to me is because I just wanted to pull up the stats here. The Super Bowl loss where he threw it at the end and the interception, as he's remembered for. Before that in the game, 247 yards and 2 touchdowns, and rushed for 39, had 1 interception, which was the end of the game. So that's an interesting one too, where you look at it and go, okay, Eli Manning, whatever tier you put him in, has those Super Bowl rings, has that David Tyree moment, the Plaxico Burress moments, like that are etched in there. If he doesn't throw that interception at the end of the game, Lynch runs it in. You now have 2 Super Bowl wins and a quarterback that threw for almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, if not more, after that. If they went to OT, I forget the score of the game. Oh no, they would have won in the Super Bowl. And like that's a bigger narrative too, which is kind of weird to say. I don't think they're going to knock him for it, but that all factors in when these voters come in. Of like, It's that recency bias of this great phenomenal career, like you mentioned, but the last 2 kind of memories people have are that and Denver, and you just hope that doesn't sour a career that I think is worthy of getting into Canton.
Yeah, he'll get it. He probably would have got maybe a Super Bowl MVP that game too. And if having 2 Super Bowl wins and a Super Bowl MVP and his career, I think that gives him a much stronger argument for first ballot. Even then, though, I mean,
but who knows that maybe he retires, it doesn't go to Denver. Like you just don't know how these things work out.
Yeah, a lot of things change. That one throw changed, and there's a multiverse out there where that they ran the ball, win that game.
behind you. There's a
Oh,
multiverse everywhere.
I'm telling you, man. Oh, that new Avengers movie comes out on my birthday. You bet. At 32 years old, 32 years young, you know where my butt's gonna be.
Proud of you.
Oh yeah. All right. What do we got up?
All right, next up, we're going to your pack. Christian Watson, massive 4-year, $110 million deal, a little over $27 million per year payday. Was this the right move for the Packers? Is he worth it? Is it an overpay? I know you put some stats on here for us. 17 yards per catch, ranks number 2 in the NFL among all players with 100 receptions in 2022. He's now in that salary range of Alex Pierce, Jameson Williams, Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore. But he's also had that injury bug. The Packers are betting on potential here, maybe. What are your thoughts as our expert on this deal for Mr. Watson and the Pack?
I almost want to hear what you think first as a Bears fan, because I was telling you pre-production, the takes I'm seeing online from Bears fans are just the most Homer Bears fan shit that you could ever imagine. That like, oh well, he hasn't eclipsed 700 yards. Like,
Yeah, we're
no
good at that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, every fan base is, but it's so baseless and literally based in nothing besides bias. Look, at the end of the day, I've watched enough Packer games to know the Packers offense operates at an entirely different level when Christian Watson's on the field. If he's not being targeted, he demands safety attention because he is a legitimately top 2-3 deep threat in the NFL. So he opens up the rest of the field. He opens up the underneath stuff. And people just want to forget how much that matters in terms of your offense being successful. When he is targeted, he's been tops in football in contested catches. And time after time, he proves to be one of the best home run hitters in the game. One of my favorite Packer writers, Wendell Ferreira on Twitter, he made a great stat here. Is the Packers offense with Watson from 2022 to 2025, their EPA per play was 0.088. Their success rate, more importantly, their success rate was 46%. With Watson off the field in that same stretch, their success rate drops from 46% to 44%. And he said the difference in that drop rate would be the difference between a team who finishes 10th in success rate to 17th. So it's a big jump with and without him on the field. And again, if you want to compare him to the players in his pay range, right? Because everyone's going to say he's an overpay. Well, why am I not hearing about other guys? Jameson Williams had 12 freaking drops last year. 12. He's been relevant for 2 years. He got paid before he was really relevant, to be honest with you. So you want to talk about paying a guy off projection. And you even want to stretch his numbers out over a full season compared to Watson, what they would project out to over a full season if he played a full season. Watson's numbers blow his way. In fact, if you look at Williams in the 50 games he's played compared to Watson's 48 games he's played, their numbers are almost identical, except Watson's has 3 more touchdowns. You look at Alec Pierce then. He's had one highly successful season last year, and even then, it was just deep stuff. So we don't even need to get into that one. They're the same type of player. Well, kind of. Pierce is more genuinely just deep threat. He just doesn't have the size, speed, and he's less prolific in contested catches as Watson. So you want to talk about overpay? I'd say in this category, Pierce is way overpaid. Jalen Waddle, another guy, hasn't eclipsed 1,015 yards. He's only eclipsed that number once in his career. And in 15 plus games in each of the last 2 years, hasn't eclipsed 1,000 yards or 65 catches. DJ Moore, your guy. I don't have to get into how practically irrelevant he's been for the Bears, the last 2 years after an awesome first year there. So ultimately to me, the market is what the market is. That's kind of where this lands at this point for me. When Watson has been healthy, he's been as prolific as any top 15 receiver in that, maybe not top 5 or top 7, but in that 8 to 15 range, he's been as prolific as any of those guys. And the only real knock on him is true. He's made of glass. And I think that's a totally fair argument against him. And paying a guy that much money who's yet to play a full season is definitely scary. But the Packers have also invested a ton in his development, and it's paid off drastically when he's on the field. You look at his route tree, it's continuously expanded since he came into the league. He's been highly effective now in underneath routes. He had a huge uptick in his out routes he's running. He's also obviously still great on the deep stuff. So anyone just saying he's just a downfield guy simply doesn't watch Packers football, simply doesn't look into anything, or they're just stuck in their own biases, likely an NFC North fan of another team. My question to them is like, if you're calling this an overpay, what actual justification outside of the injuries do you have? Because again, like when you say it's an overpay, another good one, another great Packer guy call us out, Eli Berkovitz. He is 26th in the NFL in terms of guaranteed money for wide receivers. That's behind rookies, Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson, behind former Packer Romeo Dobbs, behind Kelvin Ridley, who has sucked for years now, behind Travis Hunter, behind Jerry Jeudy, behind Wan'Dale Robinson. You ask me, that's a bargain. Christian Watson's better than all those guys, and it's not even close right now. And you look at when he was healthy from week 18 through the wild card last year, his 7 touchdown catches were 5th in the NFL. His 17 yards per catch were 3rd in the NFL. His 120.8 pass rating when targeted was 5th in the NFL. He only dropped 2.6% of his passes, which is 5th in the NFL. And you look at his full season ranks for just the NFL 2025 season, his yards per reception was 2nd. His catch rate over expected was 4th. His EPA per target was 5th. Yards per route, 4th. I mean, these are all top 10 numbers I'm putting in front of you. So how can anyone sit here and tell me to my face this is an overpay outside of the injury stuff? That's where I sit. You're the Bears fan. Let me hear it. Be honest. Be honest, too.
As it pains me to say, I agree with you. I've seen him play as well. I was at the game when he tore his ACL, which was grossly, terribly sad, even as a Bear fan. And then I saw him tear up the Bears in their regular season game, and he did an okay game in the wild card game. But this is a player that I think, I know the NFL is a national game. It's the most national game we have versus other sports that are very regional. But I think Christian Watson is a victim of his market right now. Because if you look at the NFC North, since Rodgers has left, the story has really been the Lions and how rags to riches has become this great thing. Then last year was the Bears. And normally the Packers are the story, frankly, the only story coming out of the NFC North. Mm-hmm. And so I think right now, just because we see it in a prism, both having teams in the NFC North, but outside, because the Packers haven't been kind of the division's representative, Watson's being slept on. And he's really, really good and is supposed to be the heir apparent to Davante Adams and builds his team back to where they're going to be. And if healthy, is a huge threat. And so I think as the Packers ascend, even though I don't want that as a Bears fan, he's going to get more and more recognition like Davante Adams did as this team continues to grow. And I just think it's a matter of time. Because if you asked me as a national fan, when you listed that list of Pierce and all those guys, even Alex Pierce, yeah, here's a national story to it, but it's still Midwest. He's in Indy. So it's in our zone. Not the NFC North, but still in the talking points of the area in which I live. I know where you're from. But when you say, okay, who's a sexy name at a big receiver that you know of on the national level, it's Jalen Waddle. He's got the speed, he's got the name, he's with Tua in Miami. There's a narrative there that's propping him up more. He's a huge fantasy football name. Every year, where does he rank? These Miami receivers, they're up there. And so I think right now, Watson needs to have a big year, not to prove himself in the league, but just get the conversation going. Because, like you said, for one of the top receivers in the league, this is a bargain. And they get him locked up for another 4 years to terrorize the Bears and the rest of the NFL. Good on them that everyone's sleeping at the wheel. Because this is going to be dangerous for the rest of the league when they wake up to realize the Packers are back, because the the Vikings aren't that great right now. Detroit's hit or miss. The Bears are ascending and the Packers are ascending. And we saw last year what that game did in terms of eyeballs. They're going to be, I think, the Christmas game this year, right? Mm-hmm. They're playing each other. Mm-hmm. So this guy deserved the spotlight, and I think he'll finally get it. But the Packers got a nice deal here to keep one of their own in-house when they're notorious for not providing receiver support for their quarterback the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
They got it
And
now.
And I think the big thing here that people are overlooking, there's roughly 170 targets vacated in that offense right now. The Packers chose to consolidate who they're throwing the ball to. Tucker Kraft is up next. We saw that Darnell Washington tight end got, and the Steelers got paid. He hasn't really done anything as a pass catcher. He's awesome and huge, and he's a mountain. He's a great blocker. He got like 4 years, 40-something million. Tucker Kraft is up next. There are so many open targets in Green Bay's offense, and the Packers just told you this offseason, and especially with the Watson deal, who they're committing to, who we plan to feed, right? And so you can say he's an overpay, but these targets are going to roll up to Watson, Kraft, and Reed. Golden's going to get his too. But Watson with another, even on the low side, 40 targets, again, and stretch out his production over a full season. We're talking about a guy who finishes consistently with what he's done in the short amount of games he's played, over 1,300 yards, over double-digit touchdowns, 80-something catches, 90 catches. Like, these are a blind resume test over a full season are wide receiver one numbers. You don't even think twice about it. So that's where I just don't understand. The overpay stuff is such a lazy narrative, and it's only based on the fact that he doesn't have these elite numbers because he's always hurt. And again, I think that's totally fair. But there's nothing else. Everything else throughout his career has just continuously got better and better and better. And you can see the development. And he comes off an ACL injury last year and just looks freaking great, man. He looked like he was in his best form. Obviously, he didn't come up with Jordan Love's 5th touchdown pass against your Bears. And ultimately, we lose that game because he couldn't reel that one in. He tries to go up in one-handed instead of using 2 hands and then score a touchdown. And then it's a whole entire different narrative. So we got to work on that part, I would agree. But yeah, man. I think it's, again, the market's the market. That's where it is. Look at everyone else around. Terry McLaurin is making more than him. Terry McLaurin is very, I really like Terry McLaurin. I think he's uber talented, but his production has not been uber talented. If you, again, stretch Watson's production out for a full season, it's better than Terry McLaurin's. Terry McLaurin's making more than him. T. Higgins is making a little bit more than him. Right. So he's in the range he should be, and he's better than a lot of the guys that are paid right around him. So to me, it's not an overpay, especially when I told you the guaranteed money, who is making more than him in guarantees. There's some rookies. Mm-hmm. Spare me the overpay shit, man. Just spare that one on me.
Craziness. All right. You want to jump into NBA?
Let's do NBA. I got my rant out.
Knicks storm back, take game 1 of the NBA Finals against the Spurs, 105-95, stealing a road win for the New York Knickerbockers. What did we learn from game 1? The Knicks have now won 12 consecutive playoff games, only 7th team in NBA history to do that, 3rd to accomplish it in a single postseason. Their stars came out to play in Brunson and Cat. The big meme stat of the week is the Knicks haven't lost since the Devil Wears Prada 2 came out, when Anne Hathaway met Karl Anthony Towns in the movie at their party. And they've won ever since. And she's a huge OG Anunoby fan as well. Made that very clear. So they may get some magic on some movie magic on their side too. But fun game to start out what should be hopefully a great series. And I don't want to say it's a coming out party, but it's a realization of the power that Jalen Brunson and Kat can have in a series to put themselves at the top of the NBA leaderboard in terms of players, while the future in Wemby, the alien, the best player in basketball, is just getting started.
Yeah, and I think, what do we learn from this first game? It's exactly what Eman and I were talking about. I think it was last week before the finals started. It's exactly what we said on how the Knicks can win these games. It's force Wemby in the shots he doesn't want to take. Force that offense to run through Wemby in a way that it doesn't work, right? He's still at 26-12, 3 blocks, whatever. The Spurs' fourth quarter execution, especially with Wemby's shot creation and Stephon Castle's decision-making under pressure, it all collapsed against a very physical New York defense. And what we said is, if the Spurs exist in this world where they are forcing Wemby shots because they couldn't create for him down low, it will be tough to win games. And that's exactly what happened. Thankfully, Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks, he wasn't forced to miss any time. He used him kind of as a drop coverage center while rotating OG and Josh Hart into Wemby's catch points around the perimeter. And the result was Wemby was pulling up and just laying bricks all night, right? But Castle, he had 17, but the offense just dried up when it matters most. And then of course the Brunson factor, right? Another signature Jalen Brunson fourth quarter game. New York was trailing by 14 in the third quarter before outscoring San Antonio 29-19 in the fourth. They closing out an 11-0 run. Brunson had 13 of his 30 in the fourth. Again, more than the entire Spurs team managed in that quarter. The Spurs had 19 in that fourth quarter. So Brunson had an incredible fourth quarter. He had more points total than the Spurs had in the fifth. My bad. He sealed it, a big corner three. Again, it was just Brunson being Brunson in the fourth quarter. And it's, again, impossible to stop. And we knew that was going to be a big factor. So I think it was exactly what we said. Like, they forced Wemby into taking shots that, he's not suited. You don't want him to have to do, because we've seen when that happens, this has been the result most of the time. And so Wemby said, I'm going to come out and be better. But, I mean, he had a pretty shit first game. 6 of 21, 6 turnovers in his first final appearance. Like, maybe it was the jitters, man, but I don't know. What were your thoughts? I thought it was a pretty Knicks executed how they need to execute down the stretch.
Yeah, they did. And my thoughts on this is I'm rooting for the Knicks because Wemby's going to be there for the next decade. Like Facts. Him, like the Spurs and OKC are going to be going at it in the West for the next decade, beat the crap out of each other, and win. He's 22-year-old baby. He'll be fine. Mm-hmm. He's okay to start his finals career in year 2. People take 15 years to get to the finals. He'll be fine. If ever. But no, this Knicks thing is for real. And I am loving the development of Jalen Brunson. I think he's solidifying himself, as I said, as a real star in this league. And people talk about guards all the time, and you go, okay, we're talking about Doncic and Tatum and SGA and all these guys. And Brunson's not normally in that conversation and should be. And he's the engine that drives this team and knew exactly what to do to get them to win. I was scared shitless when he got hurt in that first quarter when the Spurs fell on his knee. I'm like, oh, well, this is done. I can skip the next week of basketball watching. And then he came back and was fine and helped to win. So it's a lot of fun, and I think they're just more experienced. They got an experienced coach and know what to do. And boy, to steal game 1 on the road is massive. If you can go home, at least splitting, that's a win in itself. And as someone who is from the Chicagoland area in Jalen Brunson, it's very cool locally to see him too. He was a high school phenom here in the suburbs of Chicago. And so to see him on that stage, proudly representing too for his high school in Stevenson, it's awesome. You never, Iman's always got a local kid made good. I get one. And it's not even my high school or my city. It's a suburb, but I'm counting it, damn it. It counts.
That's fair. And again, the Spurs had more of the same problem. Outside of Dylan Harper, the bench was absolutely useless. And the Knicks got a lot more out of their bench. I mean, this has been the Spurs' problem. And shout out Josh Hart, man. 3 points, but 15 boards and a plus 22 plus minus when he was on the court. I mean, the Spurs had one player with a positive plus minus. It was Keldon Johnson, who played for a whopping 8 minutes. So, I mean, it was a very dysfunctional game for the Spurs. And yeah, they're going to have to get their shit together because that Knicks defense is mean. They're going to try to deploy the same type of stuff. I remember when the Bucks played the Raptors and in the playoffs, and the Raptors figured out this recipe to stop Giannis. And if Giannis did try to drive the paint, because they knew that's what he wanted to do, and what the Bucks want to do is the Bucks were running so much iso ball at the time, they figured out the plan to stop him. And it forced Giannis into doing things he didn't want to. It forced the Bucks into having to figure this stuff out because the Raptors had kind of figured them out defensively, and it kind of hurt the Bucks all series. So now it's on the Spurs. Like, look, the Knicks clearly know how to make Wemby ineffective. You're going to have to figure out a new plan because between Cat and between Mitchell Robinson, Mitchell Robinson, an elite rebounder down low. They got to figure something out. They're in trouble if they don't, because this is maybe the best Knicks team we've seen since the 1999 finals against the Knicks and the Spurs, when the Spurs ran them 4-1.
Yep, and it's all about big guys, right? That one was Ewing, and Ewing was hurt, and then Duncan and David Robinson. And now you got the next wave with Cat and Wemby. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Wemby, we got to talk about that fan who stormed the court during the game. These fans normally don't get the limelight. He got a replay, shockingly. The NFL would never do that. He got a replay of his court storm. But this guy runs on the floor, tries to get a selfie with Wemby, immediately tackled and the rest. But my 3 takeaways are, 1, Wemby's so tall he couldn't even get the selfie. That was the best part. It's half his face in the number 1. All right. 2, he's now banned, right? So he can never go back to an NBA game. And he went to jail. Like, are we that stupid still? Is it worth it to get your viral moment when you're now essentially got an arrest on your record, you're banned from attending, and the picture wasn't even worth it? Like, come on, what are we doing?
Made $0 off of it. Not worth. I mean, we are a very dumb breed. That doesn't surprise me at all. People, dude. I mean, maybe he placed a bet and he was trying to do that one thing that the NFL streaker did, where he placed the bet that someone would streak on the field.
Yeah, it's true.
And then they figured out he placed the bet and they wiped the bet because of that. One of those things. People are just absolute idiots, ass clowns, indeed.
I'm still shocked these guys get through. Like, there's so much security there. You'd think, like, once a guy starts sprinting, they just clothesline him.
You'd think, but I mean, some of these cats are shifty.
It's crazy. Well, and especially in San Antonio, like, I'd never seen that. Maybe I'm wrong, but obviously everyone's packed in on the court with floor seats, etc. And this happened at the end of the game too, with Brunson and a Spurs fan. But they had fans along the entire scorers table. That was crazy. Like, you had like 5 seats for the announcer, the statistician, the producer, what have you. And then the rest of the table was all fans with alcohol and saying whatever they wanted. And, like, it's just, someone made a comment yesterday. It's the one sport that you can get the closest to the athletes. And I never really thought of it that way. And I wonder, like, is that good and bad, right? You get to be in the moment, but it's also, that line is blurred now and people are using it to their advantage to cause chaos. It was just interesting. Versus in football, you're running 50 yards to just say hi.
I'm just happy that fans are into it as much as they are, because you would think with ticket prices being astronomically expensive and now these finals,
World Cup.
Yeah, and all these big games, the biggest events, like, these tickets are priced for only the riches to get to go to them. And generally speaking, those are the people who aren't as invested, not as big as fans, or not as, like, diehard passion, like, they don't have that diehard feel to them. They don't have that. They don't bring the energy like the diehards. They're just more of, like, kind of the casuals. So I'm just happy that fans are deeply into it, and those who can't afford it, that decide to pay for it, I hope you have a plan to pay off that credit card that you put that ticket on, because of those tickets.
And bail your friend out of jail.
I mean, yeah, because these tickets are like $6,000 or something.
It's crazy. It was cheaper to go to San Antonio, stay in a hotel, and buy a ticket than go to MSG.
Jesus. Yeah, that is insane. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I hate that like, I hate that normal fans, the everyday fan, has been priced out of going to see their team in the biggest games. I think that is a huge problem that the leagues have, that they just don't need to do. It is totally unnecessary. I get why you jack up the prices in these big games, but to be charging $6,000 is insane. For everybody charging thousands of dollars for any seat in the building, like, what are we doing here? Know your fans better. And they're doing it because people are still filling up the arena. But at the end of the day, man, you're casting out so many folks. And that's been one of my biggest, like, gripes with professional sports and the biggest games, is, like, you price out the diehards. You price out the people
Yep.
who, a lot of them who care the most. And it's a big problem I wish didn't exist because, yeah, I mean, there's people like me. I will never go to a Super Bowl because I will never be able to afford it, which, I mean, maybe one day I can, but like someone in their 20s, who loves a team to death, they'll never be able to go to see a Super Bowl unless mom or dad want to shell out the money for it, unless they got a great job out of college or something that pays a fortune. Like, it just sucks. I hate that about sports. Really stupid stuff. All right, that's my my
I
soapbox
agree
on
with you.
that.
It sucks. It's there's some article about the other day of like how the new stadiums as they're being built, because they're building more and more suites, they're cutting down the upper deck seats. And so it was a story of how the upper deck is the introduction for so many people into sports because it's the affordable seat. You go with your family, you have the experience, you're in it, and with the reduction in that and the addition of suites, how that's changing sports fan experiences at stadiums where it's all corporate and not actual fans. And so it's so real. That's what it's like with the Bears Stadium saga, which is a whole nother topic. I'm stoked for them to get to a dome, but what that also means is probably the seats I have don't exist in the new stadium because it'll be suites. The Bears suite
Mm-hmm.
system is completely archaic right now, and all the bowls, the first, second, and third bowl, are non-suite. Basically, it's all outdoor seating. There's some club here and there, but like it's built to host the people that care, not
Mm-hmm.
your sponsor. And so it's so true.
Yeah, I mean, they again. I was just reading cheapest tickets at the NBA Finals at MSG above $4,000. I was reading from Front Office Sports, 123% increase in sporting event admission prices across the U.S. since 2000, the year 2000.
Yep, it's because online. It's because you can do it on StubHub. There's no rules here. I know they sued Ticketmaster and all that, but there's no rules. If you went to any other country, they're like, yeah, you can jack the prices up, but at least there's a rule. You can only go up 10% in resale or whatever, not 120%. I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that like when it was the Final Four and I ended up going when Illinois was in it, and luckily we got a last minute connection for face value. It was all good. But before that, the conversation was, okay, group, who's willing to spend $1,500 on a single ticket to the Final Four? And were we actually going to do that? Probably not. But that was the rhetoric we had to talk about just to go see our team play in a historic game, was who's going to shell out part of their month's rent to go see their team play live.
Well,
That's absurd.
Speaking of rent, take a guess at the most expensive ticket at MSG.
In resale?
For game 2, the most expensive ticket at MSG.
I don't know, 20 grand?
$39,500. What the hell are we doing? How in the shit can you ask for a piece of paper or a little QR code
digital.
on your phone?
Yeah,
QR code
is to pay for the printable ticket.
You have to pay 40 grand for a QR code to walk and sit on a seat. Is in 40 grand.
And the only people that can afford that are Celebrity Row, who are getting in for free. They're not even paying it.
What are we doing here? This is absolutely absurd. The median cost for game 2 is 3 grand. Man, it is such a shame what has happened. And then you walk to the concession stand, you pay $20 for a damn hot dog, $7 for a damn soda. Like, this has gotten so far out of hand. Pricing out your most loyal diehard fan base is just the opposite. 40 grand for a damn ticket is the most absurd. 40 grand. Think about that.
Someone's salary to get in.
There's a majority of America doesn't make that in a single year.
Correct.
That is insane. That like just makes my blood boil. I mean, we got to move on. My blood's now boiling. I wish I didn't see these numbers.
Oh man. So you're not going to game 3?
No, okay. I have been priced out. Like I said, I'm never going to a Super Bowl. I'm never going to any of these games, apparently. Never.
One day you can dream. When Sidelinr explodes, you'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, baseball. Phillies ace, Cristopher Sanchez. 50.2 inning scoreless streak ends, but not before he became the 5th pitcher in MLB history to top 50 scoreless innings in a single season. 8.2 innings short of Oral Hershiser's all-time record. and just an incredible feat. So the question posed is, we know Sanchez, we know your guy the Miz, we know Ohtani. If Ohtani didn't exist, should Sanchez be the Cy Young favorite over the flame throwing Misiorowski?
Yeah, and it's crazy we have to say if Ohtani did exist. Ohtani's season is this might not the best season in baseball history. This might be the best season in sports history. What Ohtani is doing this year, he should be unanimous MVP. Shit, I would give him MVP. I'll give him Cy Young, honestly. So if we act like Ohtani just doesn't exist because Misiorowski and Sanchez are kind of the other two guys in baseball right now that are just taking over by storm. And this is not even Homer stuff, but like is great. And this is not to take away from what Sanchez is doing, but Misiorowski has still been the better pitcher than Sanchez this year. Sanchez does have the lower ERA right now, but in terms of certain things aren't really close. Misiorowski's whip at this as of June 4th, June 5th, June 4th as we're recording, a .79 whip is absolutely absurd compared to Sanchez 1.09. The thing that Sanchez does have on him is the innings pitched. And, Cy Young voters, they do love the workhorses. He's got, like a full game's worth of innings more than, it says 71 for Miz and 86 for, a couple, quite a bit of outings more, two to three. But then you look at the strikeouts where, Misiorowski's sitting well over 100. He's got him there. Misiorowski's K per nine is at just under 14 right now. So what Misiorowski is doing from a strikeout per nine right now is just historically dominant for a starting pitcher, whereas, Sanchez hasn't cracked 10. The walks per nine, Sanchez has definitely been a bit more in control on that front. He's got Misiorowski on that one, but then everything else is gone in, like you need to, because we all know baseball is really deep in the analytics and the underlying stuff. Misiorowski takes the cake on quite literally anything and everything from there on else that would matter. So Sanchez only has the Miz and ERA barely, and they're both just in elite territory. He's got him in innings pitch and he's got him in walks per nine. That is it. The barrel percentage against is not even close. 2.9% for Miz compared to 8.3% on Sanchez. The fastball velocity, Miz is literally averaging 100 miles per hour in his fastball right now. He is doing absurd, insane things with his fastball.
I have family and friends that don't watch baseball that know about Miz because of those crazy numbers of his velocity. Never have watched baseball in their life and say, "Hey, Joey, we know you watch sports. Have you seen this guy who's throwing 105 miles per hour every night?" That's the impact.
Yeah, and he literally, there's not been a pitcher in modern era, not even Ohtani right now, that's generating the swing and misses at the clip that Misiorowski has. My God, the progression development from last year to this year for Miz. Right now, he's sitting at a 39% whiff rate. Sanchez is still at a really good 28%. 39% is otherworldly stuff right now. And the hard hit rate against Miz versus Sanchez is way lower for Miz. The opponent exit velocity is lower for Miz. There's really nothing in Sanchez's favor from the top line stats, the underlying stats. Miz's expected weighted on base average against is 236 compared to Sanchez's 267. So that's a big stat right there that they use to understand who is genuinely harder to hit, not just luckier in sequence. And again, I'm not trying to take away from Sanchez's generational scoreless streak that he went on. It's truly dominant. It's incredible pitching. But we have to be pretty honest about who they're playing when he's throwing these games. They're in the midst of, since once Madden took over, they started turning around, but everyone's like, well, their schedule is also playing a lot of teams who are struggling pretty damn bad right now. Because during that stretch, Sanchez's hard hit rate against is still 44.3%, and opponent exit velo is 89%. So, that kind of suggests that the run prevention has relied in part on his, strand rate and just batted ball luck, when people are just hitting balls right at him, and good defense. Because, a 44% hard hit rate against is not where you want to be at as a pitcher. So, again, not taking away, but if we're doing a Cy Young thing right now, it's between Sanchez and Miz. It's really not close. It's the Miz right now for me. I don't know. How do you feel about that one? You're welcome to disagree.
I'm a big Miz fan, but I think it's going to be interesting because I feel like just like with Watson, it's the market, right? We know about him because you watch him every day as a fan, and he's in my division as a Cubs fan. But Sanchez or Otani are the big kind of East Coast, West Coast ticket guys and get all the publicity. So I I still think Misiorowski because of consistency, right? I know Sanchez has had a streak and baseball been very streaky this year, where Misiorowski has consistently performed, and so I just simply put in agreement that he's the pick, and hopefully his arm doesn't fall off throwing that hard every time, and we'll be okay.
I'm surprised. Like it feels like any pitch, it could be the pitch where his just everything comes apart when you're throwing
It just falls
104.
off.
Yeah, you're throwing 104 miles per hour regularly. Like these first innings, he's throwing his first 15 pitches a game are all over 100 miles per hour, and he's developed this wicked off speed stuff now. And now he's pinpointing off speed stuff. And coming into the season, we all knew with Miz, it was just if he can develop a second pitch and he can get more control of a second, third pitch, he's going to be truly unstoppable because he's got the best fastball in baseball right now. And it's not even close. You could already chalk him up as one of the best fastballs of all time with what he's doing and the speed he's throwing them and the way he's been able to place it and the everything about his fastball is historically dominant. And now he's got dominant second stuff. So yeah, I mean Sanchez is having a great year. But in terms of it's him or Miz for Cy Young, I mean, and it's not even the homer in me. It's the Miz. There's not a consensus list of
And
metrics.
he's got a good nickname, so it's easy to market.
The Miz. Come on. Yeah, and the Brewers are dominating. The Brewers are dominating the best division in baseball right now.
True that. That leads us to our next topic, NL Central. Now, before I crap on my Cubs, they did just win as we're recording. They scored 4 runs in the 9th to come back and win. PCA with a walk-off hit to redeem his inside the park blunder.
Wow. What a turnaround from start to finish of the episode.
Right? In less than an hour, we were bitching and moaning. They were down at least 3 they were down 3. Apparently Anthony Rizzo was there, took his shirt off in the stands, and they came back and won finally. But it's a bigger question about this division and what's happened to the Cubs, because the Cubs, few 10-game win streaks, then they lost 10 in a row. Like I mentioned at the top, they haven't won at Wrigley since high school teams won there. 5-18 in the last 23 games, and lost 8 in a row. Now they finally got their one back. But what a crazy wild ride, both for the Cubs and the division here, because it's supposed to be Cubs and Brewers. But now you're seeing the Cardinals in there. You know, Pittsburgh stays alive. The Reds stay alive a little bit. But the Cubs are now, about 6 games back in the division. And it's just a very different looking NL Central than I think we thought in the beginning of the year. And the Cubs' woes come down to they have no pitching right now, and they're hitting when cold. And hopefully as the summer shifts here, the hitting will come back. But it's now a really competitive division, one that we thought would be, but assumed, end of the day, Brewers or Cubs, that's it. Now there's some dogs in the fight here that can really reshape how the NL side looks in a pennant race.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not close. The Brewers, once they started getting healthy, have just run away with this thing right now. Shout out the Pirates have actually scored the most runs in the Central right now, but the Brewers have allowed 212 runs. The next closest in the division is 269 for the Cardinals. Just absolutely dominant pitching. Kyle Harrison has been the steal of the offseason. Him and Misiorowski both have a sub-2 ERA right now. They're like historically doing things like pitching duos have never done before. Starting into June, having a sub-2 ERA, the Brewers' run differentials clears. I mean, shoot, you stack the run differential of the rest of the division. They're, the Pirates are at plus 37, the Cardinals are at negative 12, the Cubs are at plus 18 before tonight, and then the Reds are at negative 41. The Brewers top all of them combined when you stack it up. Pirates have been hot their last 10. Brewers have been hot the last 10. The Cubs, astronomical fallout. Me and Eman were like wishing you were on some of these episodes to tell us like how the hell are the Cubs feeling about what's going on.
Bad. Because it is ugly here.
Yeah, what's been the talk, because it has gotten so bad with that team after how it was going. And as of recording right now, obviously I think they moved 34-30. the Reds are 31-30 at the bottom of the division.
Right.
Still a tight division. It's still only June, so a lot can change. But like, my God, it has gotten ugly for the Cubs.
Yeah, no, I mean, you went from these 10-game win streaks they can't lose to now the last 2 weeks has been, is Counsell the right manager? Did they get it wrong? How do you fix this lineup? You can't get any hits from your core guys and Swanson and Horner and even PCA. Like there's a lot of holes here, and it can't be covered up because they have zero pitching. Everyone's hurt, or they need to just go get some new horses to trade for that can start. And so it's not like they're in a division where they lose a couple of games but they're still up 15. This thing's tight. And so it's going to be a dogfight to the end, to where they're not clearly the best team in this division, nor maybe even second. And they're going to really have to look themselves in the mirror to figure out, we're supposed to be competing this year for playoffs, for pennants. How do we ensure that still happens? Because you had a division where the Cardinals were dormant for a while. The Reds were, hit or miss. And Pittsburgh's always Pittsburgh. But now they're all climbing up, and we'll have to wait and see. Again, they always define it by moments, right? So the Cubs hadn't won since a high school team played there. Well, now this will be the Rizzo game. He whipped off his shirt and swung it around in the crowd. They've won now. Maybe it's a winning streak on the horizon.
You would hope. You need something, because the Cubs May was absolute ass in all the worst possible ways.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at their lineup, right? Suzuki, Bregman, Hebb, Horner, Crow, Armstrong. Like, you got these names. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm probably missing some, but like,
that's the biggest thing is Bregman isn't hitting.
Yeah,
that's your big signing. I mean, I don't know if you remember when the Cubs got Milton Bradley years ago, and it was a complete disaster.
Yeah,
like they were comparing Bregman to Bradley this week. Of like how big of a signing this is and how much of a flop it is. It's early, but it's teetering towards July, where you're like, okay, you gotta turn it on. We paid you the money. You gotta hit.
I mean, he hit 209 in May. Hap hit 211. Horner hit 214. Crow Armstrong hit 220. Suzuki hit 179. Ballesteros hit .059. And at one point, they had a stretch where they had one hit in 28 chances with runners in scoring positions. The StatCast stuff isn't getting any better for them with hard hit rates. Like, they've just been so inconsistent on that front. And then, like, there's just this streakiness thing. Obviously, you mentioned they have the CVS receipt of pitching injuries that just doesn't stop. So we'll have to see. I mean, Craig Counsell even said it's been a weird season, ups and downs. I mean, this sounds like Craig Counsell when he was at the Brewers. And as a Brewers fan, I think I tried to tell you, give Counsell some time. You guys are all going to want him ran out of town. I promise you, and it sounds like you're starting to hear it. He was fine. He was never the leader that took the Brewers over the top, clearly. Brewers not ever able to get over the hump with them. He was just scarred with a bunch of questionable lineup and pitching decisions that he just got roasted for throughout his tenure there. So, I mean, yeah, you have the 2 10-game win streaks. Then you go 5-18 over like the last 23. Yeah, man, it's a tough one. I'm just happy my Brewers, when they got healthy and they started taking off, and now it's like we're just waiting for them to get ran out of the playoffs by the Dodgers again, like we do every year.
Yep, that's the end of the story.
Yep. All right, what's next?
All right, final one for us. Caleb Williams announced as this year's Madden cover athlete. First Bear to ever be on the cover of Madden. So it's a big deal here locally.
Yep.
I know for people of our generation, kind of sounds like an old person saying that, but people who are our age, and even the players, Madden's a huge deal. They grew up playing it. We grew up playing it. So to be in that cover, I think is still a pretty big deal, even if people maybe aren't buying as much physical copies of the game. But is this a too soon achievement? Is it a blessing? Is it a curse? We know the history of that Madden curse. People are critiquing the cover. It's an homage to Air Jordan jumping over the city from 30 years ago. People have already memed it into existence of making the background an oil rig of Hammond, Indiana, for whenever they potentially move there.
Uh,
But yeah, it's a cool honor, but does it come with a lot of responsibility and scary things?
I mean, I don't know why of all quarterbacks you pick Caleb Williams. I mean, yeah, he has electric moments, but his season last year wasn't elite. Didn't have 4,000 yards. We know we don't even have to get into the incompletion shit, but we know how deep that one runs. And then like you think about guys like Peyton Manning. Why wasn't he on a Madden cover? Right? I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's never been on a Madden cover. And even in his prime, Aaron Rodgers' prime is maybe the best quarterback prime we've ever seen. He never got on it. I don't know about the cursing, but like when you look at him compared to other quarterbacks who did get the cover, Caleb Williams statistically the season before, not to the level of like the Favre, Breeze, Brady, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, now Caleb Williams. We're talking total different tier of quarterbacks here that get on the cover compared to what Caleb has done. But I think on the bright side for you, in terms of like, is this a curse? Is it not a curse? On the plus side, the quarterbacks since 2020 and their following season stats, Mahomes goes on and gets a Super Bowl. Lamar goes on for 3,700 yards, 33 touchdowns. Brady goes on for a freaking insane season with 43 touchdowns, like 5,000 yards. Mahomes then in 2022 has the 4,800 total yards, 37 touchdowns, and Josh Allen after he goes on and gets 4,300 total yards, 29 touchdowns. So for me, I was like, well, maybe this just confirms that Bears' first 4,000 yard passer is in the mix.
Woohoo!
There you go. I think
Bears.
that's the Bears. Yeah, that's what you're getting out of it. But on the flip side of that coin, there have been 12 other quarterbacks featured on the cover of Madden. On average, compared to the year prior, their passing yard dropped by 10.9%. The passing touchdowns fell by 25%.
Oh, now you're just dampening it. You're killing
and the interceptions rose by 45%. So that, there's like a
you compliment sandwiched me there. You started all fun and then you trashed it. It's an open face compliment sandwich.
Yeah, I think it's to the point of like the curse is, there was a stretch there where like everyone would go on and get hurt immediately after, and like you never wanted to see your superstar on the Madden cover because it's like, well, hopefully we got a plan for when he gets injured and is out for the season next year. There was that run, so I don't know if the curse really persists, but like it seems like plus minuses. I just think it was a little dramatic to put Caleb Williams on it already. I don't get why. He's not a top 8 quarterback. I don't even know if you can call him a top 10 quarterback right now until he proves it this season that he is a top 10 quarterback. So that's where I was like, why the fuck is it Caleb Williams? I don't know. I have seen the cover. People have used AI very creatively to turn him into quite the diva on the cover, to put it lightly. I've seen him like mocked up an AI with like big fingernails, painted nails, of course. Everyone keeps going on that one. The cheerleader outfit with the pom-poms and carrying a little pink purse, and all these people have gotten very, very creative with it, and I absolutely love it because Caleb Williams has done a little bit some zesty stuff, a little bit of zesty boy, but they've mocked it up horribly. I think the big knock is people have called it a lot of AI slop with some of this cover stuff. I don't know. I think the premise is cool. The homage to Jordan, at the same point, have your own ideas. Do something different. I don't know. Do you like it? I mean, I'm still probably gonna not. Maybe I always just buy the games now once it comes Christmas time, and they discount it by 50%. That's why I buy the game.
That's my goal.
Yeah, that's it.
I'll wait.
Do you like it?
I do. It's just it's fascinating to me because from a football lens, like you're saying, I think it's too soon. Like I love Caleb Williams, but if you want to talk about who's deserving of the cover, he may not make that list. But what I will say is I think the NFL is really trying to make him their face. Like he's even though he has a lot of different personality things that some people like, some people don't like. Overall, he's been very easily likable. He's won. He's passionate. He's a quarterback that just is frankly different. Like he loves football, but he loves everything else outside of football and is very clear about that. I mean, the fact that the deluxe edition cover, which is the alternate version, is him as Iceman with his arms folded. all the nails are painted. They could have not done that, but they did it because they bought into what he's selling, which is this new Gen Z quarterback. And I think it's really encouraging for a league that sometimes is stuck in their ways. They want to try to make this guy the face. Forget stats, forget what he's accomplished yet. They're buying stock now because if you look at the last couple of covers you mentioned, okay, it's Brady, it's Mahomes, Allen. That was in 22 was Allen, and then now it's the first quarterback again for this year with Williams. But Patrick Mahomes, whether we want to believe it or not, is already what? Almost a 10-year vet now, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So there's a new generation here of quarterback. And I think we're seeing now who the NFL is trying to buy into. And looking at the list of other quarterbacks on here that you mentioned with Favre, Breeze, Brady, the reality is you've only had in this last 20-year stretch 2 black quarterbacks as your cover. And that's a big deal. So the fact that the NFL is presenting itself through the Madden cover as a reflection of what the league actually is, with superstars of many different backgrounds, I think that's what they're trying to sell right now. That this is the new face of the NFL. It's a fun, charismatic, but outspoken black quarterback that you can fall in love with, and it's not going to be the stoic Tom Brady, says what he's supposed to do, system guy. Like, he's his own fun personality, and you gotta accept that.
Mm-hmm. I would have put Myles Garrett on the cover. That's just me. I would have just put Myles Garrett. The best.
You have to
player.
reprint it.
You would have. There would have.
Gear.
Yep, there would have been problems. There would have been some problems on that one. Yeah, it would have had to cost a lot of money to do all these.
Do you know how nuts I am? Is when the Brett Favre one came out when he was on the Packers, but they came out right before he was traded to the Jets. That I printed out a picture of him on the Jets and taped it to the cover just so I wouldn't have to see a Brett Favre Packer cover in my house for my Xbox.
You Bears fans never cease to amaze me. That's funny. I love that. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. That's a good perspective if they see him as the face of the NFL. I mean, hopefully then they don't make the same mistake. Hopefully that wasn't the reasoning when they put Peyton Hillis on the cover.
Oops.
Yeah, that was a big oops because then he disappeared for the rest of his career right after that one. That was an electric season. I will give him that. Peyton Hillis, that one season was freaking awesome, man. He was freaking cool. But yeah, no, I think that's an interesting perspective because, yeah, you could have just put Drake May on the cover.
Right.
Same class. Second up to MVP.
Or Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. I mean, K9. I mean, there's so many guys you could have put on. I mean, it's just like, yeah, statistically made no sense why in the hell you put Caleb Williams on the cover. So yeah, something like what you just said, maybe that makes more sense. I can see that perspective for sure. All right. I think that's everything we got. Good episode. Sir. Joey, thanks for stepping in as always. And then per usual, we'll see everyone next Tuesday for another episode of Chalk Talk Social. Until then, have fun watching the rest of the NBA finals and we will see you.